Hello there, and welcome to the Ensford Grange Community Academy latest parent update. I'm recording this update at the end of the first week of our third lockdown. And in the video, what I want to do is talk to you about some of the things that have changed in terms of our online provision from the first lockdown, and also some of the things that we've got coming up in the next few weeks for our students and for our parents. So, what has changed about the online learning situation from the first lockdown? Well, one of the things that's changed is that we are now running our full school timetable. So every single lesson that your child would ordinarily be attending in school is now being delivered online. Hopefully you will have noticed that your child has been very busy between the hours of 9 and 3 o'clock over the last few days. Obviously, some of our students, because we've got the staggered start times and we've stuck with those for the purpose of this, because we also have some students who are currently on site and learning here as well. We've made sure that we've stuck to those staggered start times, the different lunch times and break times that students have. So our year 7 and 8 students, for example, will be starting their school day at 10 to 9. Our year 10 and 11 students will be starting their school day at home at 10 past 9. It's really important that your child starts their lesson at the exact time they would be starting it at school, because one of the things that we don't have time to do during these online, the live segment of the online lessons, is start the lesson again for latecomers. So it really is vital that your child joins us at exactly the time that they should be starting those lessons in school. There's also an expectation that work is submitted to the teacher at the end of every lesson. Now that helps us to monitor that students aren't just logging on and then going off and doing whatever they want, because obviously we have to have, for safeguarding reasons, their webcam switched off. So they have to submit a piece of work by the end of every lesson. Now that piece of work isn't necessarily going to be marked by the teacher at the end of every lesson, but what it does do, as I say, is confirms to us that the student has actually taken the time to engage in the lesson and to complete the work. So it's really important that your child is submitting their work at the end of every lesson. We've also made tutor time part of that online provision. So again, in lockdown 1, there was no work provided for tutor time. In this lockdown, we do think it's really important, and we did think it was important before, but now we're doing live lessons. We think it's really important that children have access to tutor time and all the important learning that takes place in tutor times. Now, linking to that is this idea of mental health and well-being. Now, you'll be very aware, a lot of it on the media, in the news, on the press, that children's mental health and well-being is a big concern because of lockdown. One of the things that we've done this time around is made sure that all our children have that structure and routine that they would have if they were coming into school as normal. So that's really important. Children have actually got something to get up for in the morning. They've got something to get ready for. They've got something that's going to focus their minds throughout the entire day, and that's their learning, that's their lessons. So it's so important that we stick to that structure and routine. And hopefully, feedback from parents from the first lockdown was that they were getting on with the work too quickly, or there wasn't enough work provided, or they were struggling with the work and therefore they couldn't ask their teacher because it was all a lot of it was set for students to do offline. This time around, they've got that structure, they've got that routine, and they've got an opportunity to engage with their teacher. They've got an opportunity to ask questions. There are opportunities throughout the lessons to engage with other students. I know some of our teachers have been using group work, so allowing students to go off into rooms, to online rooms, to do group work. So there is that opportunity for your child to be engaging with other children. So socialisation, which was a concern that students were missing out on, that isn't so much of an issue this time around. Also, I talked earlier about tutor time. That daily contact with the tutor is really, really important. It's vital that each child has got an adult that they are seeing every single day. So if there are any issues, if there are any concerns, they are able to bring that up. One thing that we're introducing starting from Monday, based on feedback that we've had from both students and staff, is the lessons from Monday. Staff will be finishing the lesson between 5 and 10 minutes earlier. Now, the reason behind this is because it's become really apparent that because staff and children are spending 5 hours a day staring at a computer screen, it's obviously giving them headaches, some form of online fatigue. So we want to give both the children and the teachers an opportunity to just move away from the screen, go outside, get a bit of fresh air, grab a drink, grab a snack, have a toilet break if needs be, but then be ready to get back into their Google Classroom for their next lesson, making sure that they're on time for that lesson. The other thing that we're offering for mental health and wellbeing, online or telephone appointments. Now they're available with the school mental health lead, and you can arrange one of those appointments by emailing the email address there, which is safeguarding@egacademy.org.uk. If you have any concerns about your child at all by way of mental health and wellbeing, then please email the safeguarding team on that email address, and we can organise for one of these either online or a telephone appointment to do all that we can to support your child. Now, I could have done with some support in recent times, I've got to be honest. Department for Education. Now, we've had quite a few frustrations, as have many schools, or all schools, with the Department for Education. They're U-turns, they're very quick decisions, they're decisions without consulting schools. I'm not going to use this as time to rant at you as parents, but I do want you to have some understanding of what we've been trying to deal with over the past few weeks. Now, obviously, we had the announcement from the government, or from Boris Johnson, on Monday night that schools, having been deemed to be safe on Sunday, on the Andrew Marr show, if anybody watched that, schools are safe, there's no problem with students going into school, absolutely fine. Then on Monday, schools suddenly didn't become safe. They are no longer safe, and therefore students can't go to school. That was fine, and that was a sensible decision. I genuinely believe that. However, what we didn't know was that they were going to cancel exams just like that on that evening. That came as a complete shock to me. Obviously, I had some idea that it was going to be really tricky to fairly run exams this year, but there was no indication that exams were going to be cancelled until I saw it at the same time as you did on Monday night. We now obviously are having to wait for the DFE and Ofqual to decide exactly what they are going to replace the exams with. Now, it is likely to be continued assessment within school that will be taking place over the course of the next few months, whilst Year 11 and Year 13 students in particular are continuing to study for the subjects that they should have been sitting exams in. We're not actually going to get any further guidance on this till the end of February. So what we're doing as a school is we are going to be making sure that students are prepared for mini assessments, if you like. So we will be holding a number of assessments between now and whenever the end date is, before we have to hand in our centre assessed grades, to make sure that we have got some reliable data about where your child is at with their learning now. What that means is that whatever their mock grade was that they did before Christmas, whatever their predicted grades were before Christmas, that's fine. That's one grade that we've got, but actually they can still improve on that grade by making sure that they continue to engage with the online learning, complete all the work that the teachers have set for them. So that's really important to make sure that your child continues to work as hard as they can do, because they can continue to improve those grades. Equally, if they don't do any work, if they don't engage in the online learning, then those grades are going to go down, and they could get a lower grade than their latest mock exam result. Another cause of frustration was the mass testing. So we were told just before Christmas that we were going to have to test all students and all staff, and we were given very little notice. And although the government and the press said that the army were coming in, the army certainly haven't been in. I've had no contact with anyone from the army to come and help us with the mass testing. So we asked for parent volunteers, so thank you. I think we had 28 volunteers from parents to come and support us with that. We really, really do appreciate your offer of support. We may be calling on you for support later on down the line, but obviously right now, the only students, the only staff that we've got in school to test are those that are working with our key worker children, and those that are working with those key worker children. So that has taken a little bit of pressure off in terms of getting that mass testing rolled out for 850 children. And then the final frustration really is the free school meal provision. Now, we now know, only told us yesterday, I think, the Department for Education, that we will be able to provide, the DFE will provide us with the funds to do an online voucher scheme, just as we were doing in the last lockdown. So if your child is eligible for free school meals, you will be receiving a backdated voucher next week for their free school meal provision. Okay, so more detail will come out about that very soon. Moving forwards, and I am nearly finished, we've got parent and student feedback forms that we are going to be sending out via text and email. It's really important that we get that feedback so we can adapt and change the online provision that we've got if we need to. So I said earlier on about adding that sort of 10-minute break at the end of a lesson to allow students and staff to just have a bit of a refresh. Now that's come from both student and staff feedback, so it's really important that we do get your feedback so we can change things if needs be. The online options process, that doesn't change. We still need to make sure that students are choosing their options for the coming years. So I know that Miss Spencer has recorded a video and she's created a website for the options process, so you should have received a letter, or you will be receiving a letter this week about that. There's the Year 8 online parents evening on the 14th of January. Again, just before Christmas, you will have received communication about that. And there's a Year 9 online parents evening on the 28th of January. So we're making sure that we are keeping that communication channel going with parents. Finally, and this for me is the most important thing to talk about, and that is just how impressed I have been with the level of student engagement in online learning. So in 3 days, we have had each day over 97% of our students have been engaged in online learning here at Urnsford, and that is phenomenal. So well done to all the children for accessing the online learning. Thank you to parents for making sure that your child is getting up and getting onto their online learning. It really is going to make a difference during this lockdown period. There's been significant improvements in the quality and the quantity of the live lessons. Last time there were a few live lessons. This time we're expecting all staff to deliver their lessons with a live element to that lesson. So our staff have done an awful lot of training since March in making sure that they're prepared and they understand how to use Google Classroom and the way they're now delivering lessons, which is completely different to how they've been trained up until this point. So thank you to the staff for that. And just to yourselves as parents, thank you very much for your really positive response. I've had lots of emails and I've made sure that staff have heard those emails and heard what you've been saying about how impressed and how pleased you are with the online learning that's being provided for your child. So I'm going to end it there. And all that's left to say is stay safe. Thank you very much for your support. Any feedback, just let us know. And we will do another update very, very soon if we've got any more information for you as and when. Okay, stay safe. Many thanks.